Well, for more analysis, let's now cross live to Charlie McGrath, founder of Wide Awake News. Charlie, thank you very much for being with us. Now,
thanks, Sean.
Tsarnaev apparently cites U.S. foreign policy as an impetus for his brother's actions. But this was an act of terror. There's no justification there, really, is there?
No, definitely not. I mean, there's no justification, especially with these kids. I mean, this is what they were, their background. There's no justification for what they did whatsoever. But I mean, there's a lot of murky facts around these two individuals that still hasn't been answered. I mean, our press over here is just, celebrating the fact that they were caught so quickly and not looking at the facts surrounding these guys. That their history with the FBI and how the FBI says that it only goes back to 2011 when the parents were saying it goes back even further than that. So there's a lot of questions on how these two came to be radicalized and their involvement with government officials prior to the time that the FBI claims that they first visited the case.
Now, you speak about this radicalization. Do you think that this attack should be treated as an isolated case, or do you think that we're going to see more cases of this type of radicalization in the future?
Well, it's a good question, and it could be answered two ways. I mean, could we see more events occur because people want to kill Americans? Absolutely. We've been waging a war on terror for over a decade now. We've destabilized how many countries, and we're killing how many nationals that have nothing to do with terrorism whatsoever. And we're doing it for reasons that the American people have been lied to over, right? Weapons of mass destruction and so on. So can this lead to people becoming hostile towards the West? How can it not?
Now, if you look at Obama and his administration's policy, they say that easing tensions in the Islamic world is their main foreign policy priority. Yet drone operations in Pakistan keep expanding. It seems like some of his policies are contraindicatory, if you will. Like, is he making any
No doubt about
progress?
it. No doubt about it. In fact, the Columbia Law School's Human Rights Institute 6 months ago came out with a report showing that Obama has exponentially increased the number of drone strikes since he's been president, but that 98% of the casualties on drone strikes are civilian. So it's 50 civilians killed for every one so-called high-value target that's being killed. So yeah, the notion of we want peace with the rest of the world, well, that's all words. That's all talk when the camera's on. When those cameras are off, the drones fly and people die.
Now, since 9/11, Washington's main goal was to target terrorists overseas. What about at home? Do you think their policy should be shifted to protecting the domestic arena?
Well, I'll tell you something. The domestic arena is well surveilled, and it has been heading that way for years. There's a certain amount of words that we can't even say in this interview that won't get flagged by DHS. The build out of the security industrial complex is well known, at least in independent media. We have fusion centers. We have plans for drones flying around our own country. So, the notion that they're just keeping this kind of apparatus overseas, that is an incorrect notion. We were seeing a police state grow out before our very eyes.
All right. I appreciate your thoughts on the subject. Charlie McGrath, founder of Wide Awake News. Thank you very much for being with us here on RT.